jump on the I. Dum 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 dum. About to cut like a fly. Dum 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 dum. CG's goodbye. Dum dum. Gotta make it back home. Dum dum dum. Cause I'm not alone. Cutting up like you just cruising, but you going faster than a lot of other people, but you're not doing the anti-thought shit. Like you're not forcibly trying to wreck. Like you just trying to find openings and get through. Like I feel like that's cutting up because you just cutting up like you do dice. I don't know why going a beast through 30 is crazy. I could do it, but you gotta know your traffic limits. Like, I feel like when a lot of people try to cut up, like, I feel like when a lot of people try to cut up, they literally just think about like themselves and don't forget that, like, bro, you could literally wreck and smack a whole family full of jits. Oh no. Let me duck off. CG's goodbye. Doom, doom, you do gotta pay attention to all signs though. Nah, cause I just seen the lights flash. It's time to go. And then you gotta know where you at. Like, knowing where you at make driving a lot easier. Signs you gotta peep. Like, bro, if I'm the only one cutting up on traffic and I see Lumia turn on, see flashing the lights, You gotta know it's go time, man. Like, you don't just sit there and wait for traffic. Like, but nah, yeah, I feel like when a lot of people cutting up, like, or they get too hype or do stuff that they know is not in their range, like, you know, I feel like at a certain speed in traffic, like, you gotta know what traffic is looking like. Like, I ain't saying you gotta be wide open, nobody on the road to cut up, but like, you just gotta know how to cut up, like, simply how to cut up. Like, I feel a lot of people feel like they vets or they drivers, but the whole time they be crashers. Cause like hitting the 130 is cool, but like kidding, 5 o'clock traffic, oh, you tweaking. You kind of try to use your signals. I feel like using your signals at least makes you a better driver. Like, you know, you can tell everybody, especially if they following you, because you know sometimes you be in random cut ups, like people be cutting up randomly behind you, bro. Turn your signals on. Like, you don't want to have to make that person guess where you going. Right there, somebody switch back, right? I also do feel like practice, man. I'm not saying go out and wreck, but like test your limits for you know what you can actually do and don't ego cut. I feel like ego cut cause nothing but wrecks. Like, all you doing is asking to crash. Like, and then know your car. Like, you see this whip in front of me, like, you can't be cutting up in a Toyota Corolla thinking you're gonna keep up with an M2 or an M3. Like, you can't be in a RAV4 thinking you're gonna keep up with a Hellcat. Like, you know, yeah, in the cuts, if you taking it easy, y'all gonna be side by side because you got a lot more power. But you get on the stretch and y'all gone. Like, and then certain things you do come to realize as you keep cutting up more often, like, if you in like the 400 or 500 horsepower range, that's probably like the best. Like, right now I'm at like 320 and I feel it. Like, when you drive a faster car, like, the way the tires actually can grip up and like shoot forward and shoot forward and shoot forward, like, that's where the real cuts be happening at. Because they make it a lot easier to, like, you know, just tap the gas and you way out in front of somebody, or it's like when it comes to last second decision, like, you can actually bail out. But I feel like you learn that more in a low power car, just for the simple fact that, you know like how much RPM, where your power band is, like, you know, learning your power band and stuff like that makes it a lot easier. Because if you got a turbo car, you know, you would know to keep it in like a lower gear if it's like a single turbo, because, you know, your turbo gonna take longer to spool. But if you got twin turbos, you know, you hit a little bit too hard in a certain gear, the tires can spin, you know. Like the BMWs with like the twin turbos, when they're in the low horsepower range, it's a lot easier to cut. But when you upgrade turbos, downpipes, you cannot tell me that tires are not spinning in second gear full throttle. Like, you know, because you're making like 600 after the downpipes. The tires just spin. So what you would do is you'd probably be in third gear. That's why you see a lot of people being like the 70s and then they take off, 80s and they take off, because they know you're not catching traction below like 40 miles an hour. Like, but in a low horsepower car or something that's like in 3, 4, 5 max, you can grip up at 20, 30, 40 miles an hour, because you know the power between the tire, the roads, and how much you putting down plays a big role. But that's just my little 2 cents on cutting up. Go back to a little bit of driving.